Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Zoo's annual membership meeting. Whether you're a staff member, a donor, a docent, a volunteer, a community member, whatever you are dear to our hearts. Thank you for your support and your enthusiastic commitment to the Zoo. We appreciate your joining us virtually tonight, allowing us to accommodate a much larger group than if we all met in person. I'm Dennis Dehejia, co-chair of the Board of Trustees. Co-chair Nancy Clark will be my co-host during tonight's meeting. We have a great agenda tonight. First, there'll be several governance items to take care of, including your approval of last year's minutes, the approval of our amended and restated articles of incorporation, the approval of a slate of 5 new trustees, the approval of 6 trustees who are beginning their second terms, and the recognition of 4 trustees who have finished their terms. Our Chief Executive Officer, Nik Dehejia, will give his annual State of the Zoo report. Lisa O'Dyer will be recognizing our docents and volunteers. Nancy Clark will then close the meeting. So without further ado, the annual membership meeting of the Conservation Society of California is hereby called to order. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from our last annual meeting on January 19th, 2022. The link to the minutes was provided on our website ahead of this meeting in accordance with the Brown Act. And you'll also find a link to the minutes provided via our chat and question and answer on this webinar. I hereby move to approve the minutes of our January 19th meeting via public poll. May I have a second to this motion?
Dennis, this is Nancy. I second it.
Thank you, Nancy. So now you're going to get to vote. Please, everybody vote, everyone who's a member. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And all those abstaining, please vote abstain. Okay, at this time, I'd like to present the opportunity for public comment through the Zoom chat box. You may add your comments and questions in the chat box at any time tonight. One of Oakland Zoo staff members is helping us to review and provide responses to those questions throughout the evening. Now, in addition to approving the minutes, the membership must also approve any amendments to the Conservation Society's Articles of Incorporation. On July 16th, the Board of Trustees passed a resolution approving the amended and restated Articles of Incorporation that were published on the Zoo's website, along with the notice of the annual meeting, and passed a resolution to submit the amended and restated articles to the membership for approval. The articles were amended to conform the articles to the California Secretary of State's request that the articles specifically include the text that the corporation elects to be governed by all the provisions of the new California Nonprofit Corporations Law, not otherwise applicable to it under Part 5 of Division 2 of Title I of the California Corporations Code. Therefore, the Board of Trustees hereby moves the adoption via public poll of the following resolution by the Conservation Society's membership. Resolved that the amended and restated Articles of Incorporation of the Conservation Society of California, approved by the trustees at their July 16, 2022 meeting, and as set forth on the Zoo's website with the notice of the annual meeting of members, are hereby approved by the membership. May I have a second to this motion?
Dennis, this is Nancy again, and I second it.
All right, Nancy, thank you very much. And now you're going to get a chance to vote. Please, all those in favor of approving the amended and restated articles of incorporation, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And all those abstaining, please vote abstain. All right, we'll pick it up from there. My co-chair, Nancy Clark, will now present the slate of the new trustees, together with those trustees whose terms are renewing, and will recognize those trustees who have finished their terms. So take it away, Nancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. And I should also mention that we have our third co-chair, Cynthia Stoddard, who is also going to be doing a little bit of presentation this evening. First of all, I'd like to just mention that we have got an astonishing great group of trustees for approval that I'd like to request. The slate includes Michael Bruck, Jeffrey Marshall, Shana Simmons, Amy Tharp Peterson, and our ex officio docent representative, Jan Stevens. So I would like approval. Dennis, I need a second for the approval.
Yes, I'll second your motion for the new trustees.
Thank you. Now I was lobbying for that, but at any rate. And same thing, poll voting again. So we'd like you all to vote. So up will pop the poll. So if you will please vote yes in favor of approving the new slate of trustees, please vote yes. If you oppose, please vote no. And if you're abstaining, please abstain. We'll give you a couple seconds to vote. So Max, I don't know if we're going to be showing the results or if that'll just be online later for all this. But we're going to move ahead. We also have a slate of trustees who have already fulfilled their first term and who have agreed to fulfill a second term. The second term, each term is 3 years. And so this slate has already done their first 3 years and are up for doing their second term. And we have Marv Friedman, Ella Jean O. Matson Grossman, Kathy Langridge, Liz Ludwig, Patrick Sherwood, and Cynthia Stoddard. Can I get a second to approve the second term trustees? Dennis?
Yes, Nancy, it's Dennis here. I'll second your motion for the second term trustees.
Thank you very much. Again, we would like to do a poll and have you vote. So please vote yes if you're approving the slate of trustees, the second term ones. If you're opposed, please vote no. And if you're abstaining, please vote abstain. Okay, so continuing on, we'd just like to take a minute to recognize the trustees who've completed their terms. They have been wonderful and have been really, really excellent trustees. They've helped us in so many ways as we've had a lot of challenges over the last few years. You saw Michael Bruck before. He was a docent and he was representing the docents. He agreed to move on and join us as a regular trustee, but he's finishing his docent term. So we'd like to thank him. Jessica Hurd has been instrumental in our marketing area. She has a great marketing expertise, has been very helpful in that area. I'd like to thank her for all her hours and help. Leah Van Ness. Leah has been just instrumental in our education area. She is a head of one of the parts of the departments of the school of Head Royce and has been really helpful as we've gone through, again, the pandemic and how that impacted our education systems and how to help navigate through all that. So she has been just really wonderful in that. And also I'd like to thank Jen. Jen has been really helpful in our financial area and in our audit area. We're going to miss her. She has been doing a lot of work and had to do work up in Seattle, which pulled her away from us a bit, but she still jumps in when we need her, and she's been instrumental in helping us in a lot of different ways. So again, farewell to our departing trustees, and thank you for their hours, their days, and their multiple years in helping us. So thank you very much. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our Chief Executive Officer, Nik. Many of you know Nik, have probably been to the zoo, seen Nik. Nik joined the zoo, I want to say 13 years ago, maybe longer, and then was promoted to the Chief Executive Officer almost 2 years ago. So he jumped in right in the middle when we've had a lot of excitement going on. And he is here to share with you what great things we did in 2022. So Nik, take it away.
All right. Hopefully everybody can see and hear me. And let me just first say thank you to all of you who are joining tonight. I think we have just a little break in the rain. I know many of you and all of us here at the zoo over the last 2 weeks have suffered incredible storm, incredible chaos. And I hope that you and your loved ones, your homes especially, are also safe and secure. We certainly are doing our best at the zoo to stay open soon, and I'll talk about that. You know, it has been an incredible year at the zoo. I think we say that every year, but truly we have done some amazing things here, thanks to so many of you who are part of this family. And, you know, I'm going to share a little bit more about our excellence in animal welfare and care. I'm going to talk a little bit about our innovative medical treatment, certainly our launch into climate resiliency through our educational programs in Oakland Unified School District, talk a little bit about our conservation impact, and also talk about the people, because it is the people who work here, many who are sort of hidden behind the scenes, that really make this happen. You know, with that, as Nancy, you were thanking the departing trustees, I want to take an opportunity to thank both Nancy and Dennis as departing co-chairs of the board. You know, it takes a lot of people behind the scenes to run this institution. And the work of the Board of Trustees, the governing board, the countless hours that they spend and the time to really help guide the organization to work with me and to ensure that we are achieving our North Star and our success. So Nancy and Dennis, although they are not leaving the board, they are stepping down as co-chairs. I just want to deeply thank the two of you during this incredible year, certainly this transition in leadership with Dr. Parrott, who retired nearly 2 years ago and led the zoo for 37 years. So just want to thank the two of you, certainly the entire Board of Trustees who have been there throughout this both amazing and chaotic year. I also need to thank the leadership team. There are so many dedicated people right here on this screen. There is more than 120 years of service to the Oakland Zoo. And it is these people, some that you see perhaps in the news, some that you see on TV, others that you may not, that have dedicated in many ways their life to this institution, to seeing the amazing things that we're doing. So I want to thank all of these individuals, an amazing team that I'm so proud to work alongside with. And certainly when you think about what makes the Oakland Zoo work, there are hundreds of people, nearly 300 staff, full-time, part-time, seasonals, across so many different departments, as you can see on the screen, that really make it work, that create that incredible experience from the moment somebody joins our website to buy a ticket, to arriving at the zoo, and to experiencing what we have to offer. I can't thank all of these people enough as well. I'm so proud of what they all mean. And with that, we take an opportunity to appreciate and recognize them. We were fortunate to have a celebration with one of our community partners at Chabot Space and Science Center to just sit back and acknowledge the incredible staff that are here and what they do. I hope as you come to the zoo, those of you who are members, recognize these individuals. They're here to help and serve, but they tirelessly work to make this zoo what it is. And I have to come back. We just finished celebrating 100 years in the city of Oakland. Here I am with Dr. Joel Parrott. As many of you know, he led the zoo for 37 years and retired, as I mentioned, 2 years ago. We had a celebration down at Snow Park, where the zoo was founded. Had an opportunity to be honored by the city of Oakland and receiving a key to the city. But I continue to thank Dr. Parrott as my mentor, who has guided me along the way. And I know he's just a quick phone call and a drive away for any additional support. But as I mentioned, we celebrated with our community as well. On June 5th of this year, down in Snow Park, having wonderful music, having engagement with the community, really support from a number of our community partners that we wanted to celebrate. So it has been an incredible 2022, celebrating our centennial, and we will continue to acknowledge that, but so proud of what the zoo has gone through over so many years and has created such meaning in this community, especially in the community of Oakland. And with that, when I talk about Oakland, I want to talk about our animal care and animal welfare. You saw some of this highlighted on the video, but here in the city of Oakland, the black-crowned night heron is our city bird. And when it comes to animal care and welfare, we start here at home. We start in our own city. And so we launched a program to rescue over 140 of these birds, fledglings, that were falling out of trees in downtown Oakland, and ensuring that they weren't getting run over or killed. So we were there with a heron rescue project and took our time to help bring these birds, if they were falling out, to monitoring the streets, to bring them to the Oakland Zoo, and then to partner with the International Bird Rescue and Golden Gate Audubon Society, our other partners. Really important for us. Conservation and our welfare work starts at home, and it starts here in the city where we were born. You saw certainly about the mountain lions, 4 mountain lions this year through no fault of their own, either abandoned on the roadside, the mothers couldn't be found, they were young, they were hungry, they were emaciated, working with our partners at California Fish and Wildlife and other great citizens who alerted the agencies to then work with the Oakland Zoo. We took these mountain lions in. We have 2 right now in our hospital, Holly and Hazel. If you follow our social media, you see the incredible work that our animal care and our veterinary care teams do to ensure these mountain lions have a chance of survival. Over the last several years, we've rescued more than 20 of these mountain lions. Whether it's wildfires or other issues, urbanization, we're playing a role. We stand up, no matter it's an individual right here in our backyard in Oakland, or elephants in Africa, or lions in other parts of the world. So we're really deeply proud of this work and the rehabilitation we can do. Sadly, most of these animals can't go back into the wild. So we have to rehabilitate them and find a forever home. Sometimes we have the opportunity to keep them here. Other times we need to move them on. California condors, as we talk about what's happening in our state, not just locally here. We have rescued 18 or treated 18 California condors, a majestic species. And we continue to do that work with a new partnership at the Redwood National Forest up in Northern California with the indigenous community of the Yurok tribe. So important that we are oftentimes the last lifeline to care for these birds that continue to suffer from lead toxicity. So important that, again, our animal care and our veterinary care teams work hand in hand with partners across the state. And proud to say that in this year, as we go forward, to host the field biology meeting for hundreds of members of the condor team that are working to preserve this species. And then there are a number of other species, some that people may not know about. Riparian brush rabbits, a species here in California that is on the verge of extinction. And we are out there in the field inoculating now in this year 1,000 of the riparian brush rabbits against a deadly disease. This is something that we take very seriously. It's not just about the bigger, more majestic animals, but caring for these rabbits so critically. Same thing as it goes with the native yellow-legged frogs. We have an on-site facility, as I think you know, and we head start them and re-release them out into the wild. Again, so critically important and gives us such great joy. And when it comes to gray wolves, again, I'll talk about that in a little bit, but our opportunity as gray wolves come back into California, the role that we can play with our partners on the ground, really important. And then there's certainly the national level. This year, what an incredible story where President Biden signed the Big Cat Public Safety Act, making it law in this country. Again, you know, we've seen the horrific images of Tiger King, that Netflix series, how these animals were treated. They were pay for play. They were there for photo opportunities. They were there for entertainment in the way that they never signed up to be. And so to have this over so many years, finally being signed at a national level, taking away those situations like Tiger King and others, is so critically important. And we're so thankful to so many who fought for this along with ourselves. As I think you know, Mia and Lola, the two tigers that we have here, were a direct result of this. They were in a facility in Oklahoma, living in cages for years, having never touched grass, never touched dirt. What a way to live. And we had the opportunity, thanks to an incredibly good Samaritan in Oklahoma that knew the Oakland Zoo was here to rescue animals, was here to rescue tigers. And in this case, we had the opportunity to work with our partners in the sanctuary world to bring and to rescue really 4 tigers, 2 of which came to the Oakland Zoo. And I will tell you that they are thriving here, and to see them for the first time out on an exhibit, on a habitat where they're touching the grass and the dirt, the scratching post, the scent, the being able to move around, being able to see each other, heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. You know, you saw in the video about the American bison. We have this incredible partnership that started with Dr. Joel Parrott with the Blackfeet Indians in Montana. For us to be part of this incredible story of bringing bison back from the brink hundreds of years ago, to saying we need to not only educate here at the zoo with the bison that we have. 8 bison were born here in 2022, 13 of which we then returned back to their conservation herd at the Blackfeet lands. An incredible, both spiritual, animal, cultural story that we're so proud, deeply proud to be part of. And we will continue that work to ensure that bison have more range across the United States into Glacier National Park. And we will do everything we can to be part of this historic effort. It truly is an amazing project, as I'm sure you've seen and heard about, and certainly seen our habitat here at the Oakland Zoo. You know, I have to say, you saw this in the video. What an honor to have Dr. Jane Goodall come and visit the zoo. She was here more than 20 years ago, and she came back this year to speak with kids from the city of Oakland to speak about being part of change, to inspire them. But you know, Dr. Jane has a love for the chimps. And so she wanted to make a special visit to see the chimps here at the Oakland Zoo, and to see her get down on her hands and knees and to interact and to really connect was so inspirational. You know, that opportunity for her, as you can see here, to speak to so many kids from the city of Oakland, to inspire them to think about what does a life look like in conservation and the opportunity to be part of something bigger. And deeply touched that she recognized this zoo, she recognized your zoo, the Oakland Zoo, as a really important player in the conservation world. And so excited for her visit. What does that mean with regards to education? Well, we just launched this incredible California Climate Learning Project. I can't thank the education leaders in this zoo who led this effort, working collaboratively with the Oakland Unified School District teachers to co-create curriculum and materials so that they could use them with their classes, with their students. And this is what our future is about. As we talk about our animal welfare and care and the importance of that, we need to be stronger. We need to take a leadership position on climate resiliency and how that impacts our future. So we are working tirelessly on this, and so proud to launch this new climate learning effort. It takes many different shapes and forms. A lot of it is what you see here, you know, working and strategizing and thinking and bringing young students to the zoo to be part of these solutions, to really be active with us. So important. This is not about what we are telling others to do. We are developing this together and to develop the future leaders. And so proud of these multiple ways that we engage with our community, bring students on site to work with them. A conservation internship program that we run in the summer. So many different ways that our educational programs are impacting so many, and very specifically as we lead into the future on climate change. It is all being talked about at a national level, at an international level, and here's how we are acting locally. And listen, for those who have been to zoo camp or send your kids to zoo camp, what a wonderful opportunity. The zoo provides such a canvas to learn and interact and understand. And we have scholarship programs for those who can't afford to come, something that we want to advance and grow into the future. And we engage these youth in climate action, in climate marches, in learning and speaking out. And we're so happy to be able to do that and to see these young minds ultimately change and grow. And some who have come back to be teachers in this program, which is incredible. And even others who have become staff members at the Oakland Zoo. So we take that so very seriously. Certainly, when we think about our engagement in the community, there's engagement certainly here at the zoo, and you see our incredible teen wild guides here at the left and our education staff on the right. That engagement and programming, sometimes it just takes one conversation, and that one conversation really sparks something in a young mind. And so I can't thank enough the volunteers and especially our teams who are here day in and day out, supporting and being part of that change that we're developing. You know, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about what we're doing on site. A number of fun things that are happening, but I want to share with you. We have a new aviary that is being created for our flamingos. If you've been to the zoo and you've had a chance to see our Glofari program, it is right as you enter. We are in the final construction stages of this incredible enclosure. This is very much a welfare and a care. We want our flamingos to be free-flighted, to have an opportunity to have other species in there, to really use the entire space. And something that I have to thank our docent community who really stepped up, our volunteer community, who stepped up to fund and fundraise for this very successful, surpassing our goal of raising over $109,000 this year. Hang in there. We're in the final stretches of this finishing touches on this exhibit. Now, our flamingos are not in there right now. They are in our hospital because of HPAI and the avian influenza. But we are working diligently over the course of the next 30 to 60 days to ensure that these birds and others do come back into their exhibits. But thank you deeply to those of you in the docent community and the volunteer community who really made this happen. You saw a video of Emma and Luca, our jaguars here on site. Luca, our male, has been waiting for a mate for a really, really long time. We've been talking about this. We were fortunate to finally have a match. And so Emma is here on site. You saw them in the video on a fence line, interacting with each other, getting used to each other, smelling their scent, displaying in front of each other. So we are hoping soon that we can bring them together to see if there is a true love match. This is very important to us. It's part of a species survival program for the Oakland Zoo and for zoos across the country. We're losing jaguars and many other cats species. So this is something we take very seriously. Can we be part of seeing a future for jaguars in their species survival as well? So more to come on that in the new year. A little bit of fun. I talked about our education programs. I talked about some of our engagement on site. I have to say, this is some of the most exciting stuff as well. These are our animals. It's our Oakland Zoo trading card program. It has taken off incredibly well. And for the young kids, including this little girl here in the middle, we are releasing these cards every month, a series, to really highlight and showcase in an engaging and fun way, what are the species here at the zoo? And if you flip that card over, you will learn about them in terms of their habitat and their diet and what are some of the concerns. But it becomes an opportunity when you come on site, and whether you're young, like the girl here on screen, or older, it's an engaging and fun way to connect. And so we've launched this to great success. And I will tell you, as many of us walk around the zoo, we have kids who are saying, do you have a card? Do you have a trading card? And again, there are those who come in on Wednesdays where they have a trading program. And so it's exciting to see a different way for our community to engage at the zoo and to learn about these animals and have fun doing it at the same time. You know, when we talk about events at the zoo, again, fun is really important. There's a lot that we have to learn and teach and help people care about, but we have to do it in a fun and engaging way. And the zoo, as you all know, is one of the best places to come and visit. So Boo at the Zoo, our Halloween event. There's a scavenger hunt in the zoo, as you can see, incredible costume, incredible fun that people have as they lead up into the Halloween. And so we had a scavenger hunt this year, again, handing out these cards, these trading cards throughout the zoo and stations. What a fun way, again, to engage and inspire and to see families. That is also heartwarming as I talked about what it is we do with our animals. But to see people having fun and engaging, we love that. And so I really appreciate all those who came out to the zoo in their costume ahead of time, and especially to those parents who dressed up as well. And Glofari, wow, what a program it has been for us now in our third year. You know, I will talk a little bit about our closure and hopefully we're going to work to bring back Glofari. But, you know, again, creating excitement and creating opportunity for fun. We have heard year over year now how people are waiting for this program to come back, how they can't wait to experience it and bring their family and friends from out of town. Again, this is the fun that we want to create as much as we are working on all the serious conservation and welfare that we are in education that we're doing. So again, we are working as the zoo opens, and we don't have a date yet. We're looking at early February, but we are working to bring Lofari back to the community. We love it, and we love seeing all of you having so much fun. And so hang tight and be patient. We will get that open up for you again soon. You know, the community also goes beyond the zoo. It's not just about kids that I shared just a moment ago, but it's about adults and others having fun. And on the right here, our Healthy Living Festival for over 20 years, working with the United Seniors of Oakland and Alameda County, because everybody has an opportunity and deserves an opportunity to experience the zoo and to have a fun time. So we do this every year with our Alameda County Supervisor, Nate Miley, and the United Seniors of Oakland and Alameda County. And so important to see these individuals having fun, as you saw in the video, dancing and just moving about. There's nothing like it. And again, brings us so much joy. And I'm sure for many of them, this is their once a year visit to the zoo, something that we want to do more of as we go forward. Oh, I just missed a slide. Hopefully I can get back. There we go. Again, as we engage in the community, the Oakland Turkey Trot, seeing these kids doing a run, we were one of the sponsors of it. But more importantly, beyond that, the opportunity to be out there in the community and to see these kids, in total, over 3,000 at the last run that we participated in. But this is an opportunity to just see kids engage in a different way and scream out when I was talking to them about the animals that they love at the zoo. Again, another important way that we connect. You know, and when it comes to our conservation activities out in the community, we came back live. Can you believe it? This year, we've been doing this over Zoom, and we hope at one point we can bring this meeting back live. But to really talk about our conservation partners, in this case, talking about climate stewardship, we had an incredible attendance here at Brooklyn Basin in Oakland, with a number of our partners, the Native Plant Society, and others, to talk about many pressing conservation issues that are happening locally here in Oakland. And certainly there is the global conservation efforts. I've talked a lot about what happens in Oakland, in California, certainly nationally, but there's a lot of work that we are doing. And this is just one example of the many projects that we work on. Here in Uganda, working to protect the wild African lion population. You know, what I've learned as I've been to some of these projects around the world, we don't measure these like Wall Street in terms of what we've done every quarter or what we've done every year. So much of this is not also about the money that we've spent, but how are we engaging communities and creating joy? In this case, working here with a very new and specific program with the New Nature Foundation to create a rocket stove, a stove that you can see this creation on the left that impacts not just the animal population, but the community as well. So they're not out there cutting down the trees and deforesting. So we take a very holistic approach to how we think about conservation, and deeply that the community, whether you're the community here in Oakland or in Uganda or other parts of the world, that they are part of the solution. And that's very important to how we operate. But again, this is just one very small example of the work that we do overseas and how our staff participate in this process. So let me come to really the last part of this, which is investing in our future. You know, last year was a big year for so many reasons that I've talked about, but it was also a thank you as we look ahead, 100 years in the city of Oakland, and what's next as we move forward. The community had an opportunity to support the zoo with an incredible yes vote on Measure Y. For those of you in our membership on here tonight who live in the city of Oakland, thank you. Thank you for voting yes on the Oakland Zoo and for voting for what you believe in as to what this zoo means to you, to the community, to our animals, and to the work that we do. Certainly it's about animal care and fire safety as we've gotten too used to the California wildfires. So the more that we can do to bridge that and to help not only on site, but in terms of taking care of our park and our animals. It is a lot about us in our wildlife rescue work. I talked about mountain lions and the yellow-legged frogs, condors, but there's more to be done in terms of our wildlife rescue work. Whether we can rewild these animals so that they don't just have to stay in our hospital or then in a forever home. But there's so much more for us to do deeply as we care about not only the storms that we've experienced, but the wildfires. The animals who are voiceless need help as well. And so there's much more for us to do in this space. We are a forever home, as you know. We operate as a wildlife, as an oasis, a sanctuary to some. And that's really important to us as we go forward. I talked about some of the climate work and certainly the deep pride in the climate literacy work that we're doing. But with Measure Y and the opportunity to engage even deeper into the Oakland Unified School District, thankfully, they're pulling back most recently from those closures that they were talking about. But how do we provide more opportunity, more scholarship to come to our programs, whether it's Zoo Camp, to provide more transportation to schools and districts that don't have busing programs? There's so much more for us to do and to partner with our community and the school district as well. And certainly about access in the community. Again, for those of you who have seen what Measure Y is, this is about reaching those who cannot afford to come to the zoo. And so we have a couple of programs that we will be rolling out in this new year. One of them is a 25% discount for all Oaklanders for general admission to the zoo, something we're deeply proud of that we hope our residents will take an opportunity to take advantage of. We also committed as we go forward to give out 100,000 passes in the city of Oakland to reach those communities. And we know that giving a pass to the zoo is not the be all and end all. But oftentimes we also hear that that opportunity, that single opportunity to come to the zoo creates a spark and creates an excitement about what we are and what we do. And that's what we are trying to do, is not only to reach people, but to give them an opportunity to spark. So much as we think about the future that we're deeply excited about. And as I said, thank you to those of you in Oakland for voting yes on this measure. You really have enabled and empowered us to really launch that rocket fuel into the future that we're so deeply proud of and that we look forward in the coming years to give back. And as I mentioned, this 25% discount will begin on February 8th and more of that to come as we go forward. So with that, I am going to turn it over. And I just want to say thank you to all of you before I turn it over to say it has been such a joy, not only for me, but the leadership team, the staff that work here, to be part of something much bigger. That's what keeps us going every day. That's what gets us out of bed when there's so much perhaps to worry about when it comes to climate change, when it comes to the storms that we're currently experiencing. But the opportunity every day to say we're part of something larger than who we are, and that we're giving back in a way that is creating measurable change. You know, for all of us at the zoo, I can say that we're so excited to be part of that and really looking forward to what this year brings and many more to come. So thank you again to all of you in our community, in our membership, who have supported us so dearly over the years, and especially in those moments when we were in such great need. So thank you for that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Cindy Stoddard, who is also a co-chair of our Board of Trustees and will continue to be co-chair in this next year coming up. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Cindy.
Thank you, Nick. That was just an amazing, wonderful presentation. It's great to hear you share all the wonderful things that the Oakland Zoo accomplished in our 100th year. And I know that looking at Nancy here, I know that she has a special place in her heart for everything that continues to happen with the legacy of the Oakland Zoo. And I have to thank Nancy for, inviting me to participate in some of these wonderful, events and, be part of the zoo, because it's just amazing to be here and, see the animals and see everything that's going on. I'd also like to take this moment to thank the volunteers. You mentioned them earlier in your talk about their service. Their service is extremely important. And the time that they take from their personal lives to donate to the animals and to our guests. It's amazing what they do. So I'd like to introduce Lisa O'Dwyer, Oakland Zoo's Director of Volunteer Services and our Interim Director of Education. Lisa has worked for the zoo for over 16 years. That's really impressive. Together, she and the volunteer services team manage year-round and episodic volunteers here at the zoo. They support staff from animal care, conservation, education, administration, horticulture, and guest services that train and work with the volunteers on a daily basis. She will give a highlight of the volunteer work from the year and announce the volunteer and docent of the year. We are so appreciative of our dedicated volunteer workforce. Take it away, Lisa. We'll love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Cindy. And thank you to everyone for giving me just a few minutes on the agenda this evening to share some of the highlights from our volunteer program. We want to thank our volunteers. As everyone has said, they are just such a dedicated and passionate group of people, so committed to the zoo, and we really couldn't do all of the wonderful work we do here without your support. So I want to share some highlights about our year-round volunteers. We have a total of 662 volunteers here at the zoo that donated 70,298 hours of service. And those hours of service are equivalent to 33 full-time employee positions and represent a cost savings to the zoo of just over $1 million. In addition to our year-round volunteers, we have community or episodic volunteer groups that come here to the zoo. And they work with our horticulture or our animal care departments to work on a 3-hour project. And it is a really great resource to our horticulture and animal care departments because they can kind of come in and knock out a project in a couple of hours that can take our staff a long time to get to as they're trying to incorporate that into their regular work day. So in addition to our year-round volunteers, we had 55 of these community volunteer groups come to the zoo. And that was made up of an additional 1,226 volunteers for an additional 3,725 volunteer hours and an additional cost savings to the zoo of just over $89,000. We're also very excited that our veterinary hospital tours have really taken off again post-COVID. And we have docents that have gone through special training, and zoo guests are able to sign up on Eventbrite to tour our amazing veterinary hospital. And I just want to give a shout out to everyone, all the staff in the hospital, because they have been so welcoming and so supportive of this program. And we're just getting rave reviews from everyone that participates. So we were able to give 76 tours with 525 participants and generated just over $11,000 in revenue. So our first year All-Star Award goes to our docent class of 2020. We have all of their names listed here, and we have a few of our photos available as well. They were chosen as our first year All-Stars because they had just completed a very rigorous 14-week training program to become docents right as we entered into the pandemic. So they have been extremely patient, extremely resilient, and so we wanted to recognize them as our first year All-Stars. And then we also have our Volunteer of the Year and our Docent of the Year awards. Our Volunteer of the Year this year is Tina Gingrich from our Animal Care Conservation and Research Department. That's her highlighted there, getting dirty there with the red arrows. And then our Docent of the Year is Guy Vinson, who is also a member of our Docent Training Committee. And all of our award winners and all of our programming highlights will be shared again at our annual Volunteer Appreciation Dinner, which will take place in April. And thank you again for giving me just a few minutes to share some of our highlights. Just want to thank our volunteers again. They're just such an amazing group of people and just really a privilege to work with them on a daily basis. And now I would like to introduce Nancy Clark for our closing remarks.
Thank you, Lisa, so much. It's great to hear everything that's going on. And again, we couldn't do it without our volunteers. So just a couple minutes here just to close off the meeting. First of all, appreciate you all being here. But as you heard this evening, it has been an epic 100th anniversary celebration year. You know, we've gone from we're rescuing and caring for so many animals. We've conducted so many special events. We're remodeling and improving the zoo, and we nearly reached 1 million visitors. So we really appreciate the revenue that those visitors provide. But more importantly, it's an opportunity for us to engage and educate visitors about wildlife and conservation. So, you know, kudos to all our people who help make that happen. And again, just some of the volunteers and docents you heard are the ones that are out there spreading the word and helping with that communication. And also, I'd like to thank our donors and members for their very strong foundation that they've given us for this for the next 100 years, from continuing your memberships to donating, and also combining with the Oakland citizens for passing Measure Y. We have great confidence that the zoo will continue for many more generations. And many zoos get a lot of government support, and it's really wonderful that now we have got some government support through our Oakland citizens. All of us are stewards for the zoo's future, and it's a big responsibility that our community expects. When my family started the zoo in 1922, so 100 years ago, Henry and Sydney Snow publicly committed to protecting endangered species and building awareness and support for wildlife. Currently, our focus has stayed true to those goals. Here I go again, good Lord. So fortunately, 100 years later, we're able to expand our commitment and impact, not just to protect, but to save endangered species. We're trying to go further to rescue and conduct research, provide care, and proactively advocate for wildlife, to engage and educate children and adults about animals and conservation, to provide greater access for all, and to impact locally and globally. And I think you heard that tonight. So on behalf of my co-chairs, Cindy and Dennis, and the entire Board of Trustees, we thank you. We are so fortunate to have the best and most dedicated staff, volunteers, members, donors, trustees, and a large caring community. I mean, others would be are so envious of us, and we clearly couldn't do it without you. So with that, I officially adjourn the meeting and hope to see you at the zoo soon as we get reopened. So thank you. Have a wonderful evening and appreciate you being here. Thank you so much and good night.